Hello, just doing a quick video on the Bronco. As you can see, we have a door on there, a door off. We had all 4 doors off. And now I'm putting the doors back on. And there's some key spots that you want to grease, which is this little thing. The door, weight of the door pivots around this. So I'd put a little bit of grease on here. This doesn't, the door pivots internally, so I put a little on here just enough to help it slip on. So that's not as critical, but some of the weight of the door is pivoting on this bushing here. So it doesn't hurt to put a little grease on there. Plus it'll help it slide on more. And then on the front, I just wanted to do this before I put it back on the front. I put a little bit around that. You can see just around this, not necessarily in the threads, but just where this door is going to spin. You can see where it was starting to egg out the metal a little bit because it's just kind of a bushing, not a bearing, more of a bushing. So a little grease there is definitely a good idea. This is more optional because this isn't turning, the door is turning internally, and this is indexed to make the door turn inside the door hinge, like in here. So that's not as important, but I did put a little in there. But down here, wouldn't hurt to put a little bit on the under edge and on the top edge there. So just a little quick pointer. I wouldn't take apart your doors to do this, but if you happen to take apart your doors, I would put a little bit of grease, especially on that lower one, just some bearing grease or whatever you got around. And I have to admit, I've been very pleased with how easy it was to remove the doors. We had a little parade, and so 4th of July parade, so we had the doors off just for fun. We were pulling a small flatbed, and anyway, did great pulling that flatbed. But when I was putting the doors back on, I was just kind of analyzing it a little bit. I'm like, yeah, a little bit of grease here would be a good idea. So just another footnote is the back side of this seam. I'll back up so you can see where I'm going here. So the back side of this seam, this metal seam, is very sharp. Now, you're never going to catch your fingers on there unless you're doing something in a weird position, but I did. This door has a clear bra on it, and it cut through this clear bra like butter. And it removed, you can see a big section of paint. I just touched it up, so it'll be hard to see when it's done, but I know it's there, and I would have rather not done it. So if this helps somebody not do what I did, totally my fault. I'm not pointing the finger at that edge for being sharp. It's a back edge that nobody should ever touch. So it's my fault I had this door open, I removed it, and I opened it to maximum opening, and you have to put it back in the door back in the same position as when you got it off. And but I just went in, and then evidently when I was pulling back out to line up this top hinge, I had the bottom one lined up. I just caught the back corner of that sheet metal in it. It'll take your paint off like butter. And that was even through a clear bra, so if you don't have a 3M covering on it, it did it through that. So, I was like, well, what's that? And I was like, oh man, I took off some significant amount of paint. So I'll hit that again, and then see if I can bring up that level so it's not such a divot. So there you have it, just something to keep from happening. If you can just be careful if you do remove the doors, and like I said, they go on and off really easy. Just be careful on the front one. The back ones don't have the same tendency, but that front one, just be careful. All right, have an awesome day. Thanks for tuning in. Bye-bye. So you want to be careful when you place your doors. I can't see how this flares here, and the back side of that can have a little bit of an edge to it. I think that's how I slice this, is I put the door in, and then I was lining it up, and I just caught the back of that door. So to show you orientation wise, that is this edge kind of up in here. So just be careful. Next time I do this, I'm gonna have a couple people, one person to watch this overlap, and I'll be on the inside lining up the hinges. I was doing it kind of by myself with a little bit of help, but I think having somebody out on the outside to watch this to make sure you don't overlap is a good idea. So there's what I've learned. Hope it helps.